Hey everybody, welcome in to the show. Sorry, headphones hit hard. Happy Friday, everybody. As usual, let's not waste any time and jump all the way in. And don't please remember to subscribe as well if you like the content. So, quick crypto market update. Hope everybody's doing fantastic. Let's talk a little bit about everything that we see. And of course, this is edutainment, not investment advice, and channels about math, money, and freedom. So let's have a quick look at the market and where we are. By the way, Bitcoin is at 60,750 when I started. So let's see if we can get above 6750. When this slide was made a few minutes earlier, 60,600. So it's already up $125. You can see the day is kind of red. Obviously, typically you get the buy the rumor, sell the news, ETF number 1, ETF number 2, all launched, driving huge demand, lots of good news. But there's always a little bit of a breather, a little bit of a sell-off. This weekend is probably going to be very bullish from what we see, and I'll show you why. So there's the market. You can see a couple of dark green spots: Avalanche, Solana, Luna. Cardano's light green, Polkadot's light green. I won't mention that other one there. And the market's not too bad, but let's see what it looks like compared to Bitcoin. And we're going to do more of this because we need to start getting our heads adjusted to Bitcoin as the denominator. Obviously here, everything is green because Bitcoin is very weak, with the exception of Litecoin and a few others. But that's what happens. So we've had, so many days where everything was red against Bitcoin, as Bitcoin was on a huge run at 49.6% dominance. Now it's coming back. Well, let's see what else is happening out there. Another big shuffle in the top 10. Very interesting to see here. XRP is down, and they are not happy about it. They've been quite vocal about being leapfrogged. They're now in number 7. Polkadot is up to number 8. And Tether down to number 5. Solana up to number 6, leapfrogging XRP. So that's the news there. And you can see as well, if you look carefully at the market caps, they're beginning to compress quite a bit out there as well. You're going to have a whole bunch of players bunching up against Cardano real soon. That could be Polkadot too. And we'll talk a bit about Polkadot later. Let me try fix this screen so I can see what the market's doing. There it is. Okay. Now let's talk a little bit about some price target news. This is from Dan Moorhead, CEO of Pantera. He is extremely good at analytics, but he's also very, very conservative. He's a little bit like me in that regard. But he was on Yahoo News today, and he spoke about the fact that he sees Bitcoin doubling or tripling in each of the next few years. And again, that's not very attractive to many, but he does believe the terminal value of Bitcoin is $700,000 after his extensive research. Dan, I'll challenge you on that. Working through a model today that will be showcased next week, and will prove that $700,000 at least in the next 9 to 10 years, it's going to be a lot higher. So very excited to show that as well. But 700,000 is still a big win considering where we are now. Now let's talk about the Bitcoin future. This is from Tech Dev. He put some great charts together, wishing everybody a happy weekend. He said, enjoy your weekend. So thank you, Tech Dev. Very nice of you. But if you look at this chart carefully, you will see a whole bunch of information. But if you look at the channel top on RSI, we are very, very far away from that. And if you look at the history on the 2-week, it looks like we've got a long way to go. Again, back up to 140, 150 in this cycle. It seems now over the last week or so, a lot of the analysts out there and the TA folks are all pointing to that 150, 175 mark. And of course, some like Plan B are going a lot higher. Either way, looking good. Don't worry about these short-term undulations as usual. Let's talk a bit about Bitcoin versus Ethereum energy consumption. I found this very, very interesting. As you know, Bitcoin is a proof-of-work consensus. It uses the SHA-256 hashing function. And Ethereum is a proof-of-work also, but it uses ETH hash or ATH, and that's like a SHA-3. It's a little bit different, but when you look at how much energy is being used, basically Ethereum mining uses nearly half the energy of Bitcoin mining. And that's all going to change when they move to proof of stake. But another way to look at it too is look at the hash rate of Bitcoin. It's nearly back at the all-time high, which is very important for us to look at, because normally, I always say historically, price followed the hash rate. Now with the China ban of miners, the opposite is true, but we're nearly back, and we'll see. But the glory days are over for the miners. Let's look at the hash rate for Ethereum real quick. And these charts are courtesy of the block. And notice here that the hash rate for Ethereum is at an all-time high on the 7-day moving average. But you got to also remember that Ethereum processes more transactions than Bitcoin. And in the last quarter, Ethereum miners have been making more revenue than Bitcoin miners. And the Bitcoin miners are making $52 million a day. Can you imagine how much the Ethereum miners are making with this NFT craze? Crazy, but it shows you as well how much processing is happening out there. Now let's look at a couple of other cool charts. This is regarding Bitcoin from Will Clemente, courtesy of Glassnode. Per Will, as he always talked about, the long-term holders typically buy into weakness and they sell into strength. But why are they still accumulating? Because it's considered weakness. And they don't perfectly buy the cyclical bottoms and tops. Nobody's perfect in this world. But seeing this distribution, long-term hodlers typically nail it pretty well. And we'll see what happens. But the point is they keep on accumulating. And the short-term people keep on reducing in size. So that means the amount of supply that's out there is decreasing every single day, which is bullish. So let's talk about people. I get a lot of questions every single day. Where do I buy? Where do I buy? And I told you nobody buy above 65K. But now at 60K, that's the Snipe Zone. And this is the green line here on the chart. And it seems to be bottoming out nicely at about 60,400, 60,600. It's putting in a nice double, triple bottom here. And that I think we can call new support. So I would categorize that non-financial advice, but as a potential Snipe Zone for people who are looking to, people who are late to the party, people who need to FOMO, people who are looking to transition out of other alts into the safest of all, Bitcoin. Now, even though it appears that this is a solid bottom at about 60,500, 60,600, we could technically fall to 57K or wick down to 55K in a dip. And if that's the case, then you go in harder. So overall, the next 12 weeks will be extremely bullish at the very least. Let's talk about some Ethereum charts here as well and compare them to Bitcoin. This is one I like to look at. It's the ETH over Bitcoin ratio. And you will see here that Ethereum is under the 50-day moving average and sitting on the 200-day moving average, which is extremely bullish for ETH. If you look carefully at this chart here, you see it hasn't been down this level since March, April timeframe. I think March this year. So this tells you that on a relative basis to Bitcoin, ETH is cheap. That's why we're starting to gear our heads around looking at Bitcoin as a denominator, not the US dollar anymore. Let's look at another one as well. This is Solana over Bitcoin. Here, you can see that the chart is under the 50-day moving average, but well above the 200-day. Now, this is extremely bullish in my opinion. And I believe Solana, they spiked above 200 today after a 35% weekly gain. And I think the future is going to be very bright. So expect this horse to run a lot faster than Bitcoin. And Bitcoin's already run very fast. Now let's have another angle at something else. How about Solana over Ethereum? Here, this is kind of different. You can see that the Solana over Ethereum is back above the 50-day moving average, which is super bullish. Ethereum will be on fire this cycle. So can you imagine what Sol will do? Now, the reason I'm sharing this with everybody is everything is relative. You've got the big 800-pound gorilla, the safest, most pristine, hardest asset, Bitcoin. Okay, then you got Ethereum. It's going to run faster than Bitcoin. Then you got Solana. It's going to run faster than Ethereum. That's what these charts show me. Again, NFA. So let's look at this cool article from Seeking Alpha. And a big thank you to Sanjay for sending this in to me. But basically, the recent price action confirms that the crypto bull market is very much intact and in full swing. And this article is the fact that they believe Ethereum could quadruple in the next 6 months. And remember, Ethereum's current price follows the 2013 to 2017 Bitcoin price cycle. It is eerily similar, and I believe I believe Ethereum will outperform even the most optimistic Bitcoin price projections. Remember, historically, if Bitcoin goes up 5x, Ethereum will go up 7 to 10x, and that will still stand. And also, regulation and competition in the smart contract space still poses a risk. Again, there's 20 other companies biting at the ankles of Ethereum trying to steal market share. And that's where we look. We try to identify the ones that will take the most market share from Ethereum, because that's where the most upside is. But let's look at this chart here. So I rolled the charts today, but it's important to see some of the patterns and how we can make kind of meaningful sense out of some of this data. Here you see the history of Bitcoin over time, and in the middle, the red line, is the history of Ethereum over time, and the green one is a new kid on the block, Chainlink. But what's really important here is to show these charts as the long-time price movements in Bitcoin, Ethereum, and Chainlink all are kind of similar. And the digital assets follow Bitcoin's stock-to-flow model without any fundamental reason for doing so. So Ethereum and Chainlink do not have Bitcoin's halving model, but they follow the cycle. Now, there'll come a day where this will break, but the point of this is, I believe the rising tide will float all boats as we go forward. So, stay strong on Chainlink, everybody. I know some of you hold it and you're a bit worried it hasn't really moved yet, but it's going to come. And in other smart contract platform news, Polkadot Parachains, all systems go. They are ready to launch, and almost exactly 5 years, I think, after the vision of a heterogeneous multi-chain framework was first outlined in the Polkadot white paper, I think it's called the Polkadot paper, Parachains are now officially ready for launch. It's sometimes for me, a little sidebar here, it's comforting to know that it takes 5 years to build something, but also I'm a little bit concerned that the technology can change. So, technology moves, things change. So hopefully when it does launch, it will take over. But they still have a lot of adoption that has to happen on the actual chain for it to catch up with other players, which will remain nameless. So we'll see. Anyway, apparently the first Parachain slot auction is proposed to begin on November 11th of this year. So we don't have long to wait, everybody, and we'll be monitoring carefully. A little bit of extra good news as well. As we promised during the summer, Robinhood, COO and CEO promised they were working on a wallet. Well, they have a beta test, and the waitlist now has over 1 million people on it for the wallet. So if you do have a Robinhood account, sign up for that wallet, because it's always good, especially with a place like Robinhood. Pull your crypto down, deposit it at Celsius, earn some passive income, because that's what they're doing with your stuff right now. So anyway, we can probably debate how good it's going to be. But apparently they did promise that it will work for Bitcoin and many other cryptos that they host. So fingers crossed. And I don't know when the exact launch date will be, but they're going to try it out with some customers first. But I expect it to be fully operational before the end of the year, which will give you time to get your crypto off the exchange. I know a lot of people were concerned about taxes. To be able to pull their coins off, they'd have to sell, cash out, move the cash to another exchange, buy in, and incur tax consequences as a result of that. But this will help prevent that. So well done, Robinhood, at last. In other interesting news, again, the premise of this channel is math, money, and freedom, asset protection, then asset growth. But the NFT craze is kind of crazy. And I thought this was an interesting stat here from, I can't remember the actual article. I think it was Crypto Potato. But they shared the fact that there's a huge amount of inequality in the Ethereum NFT marketplace, in the sense that I think the top 16.7% of all NFT owners control 81% of the NFTs. And because of low barriers to entry, it means that every single Tom, Dick, and Harry out there are minting apes and rabbits and monkeys and giraffes and goldfish and whatever else. Just be careful. Buy real art. Don't buy, if some person out there mints 10,000, whatever it could be, don't be foolish and jump in and buy it. Buy unique assets that will grow over time. It's just like investing. Be very careful with this NFT craze. And if you look at these stats here, it tells you it's like a monopoly looking for people to line up and buy these things. So again, be careful out there with your money, everybody. Now, a little bit of bad news for Kazakhstan. They are out of batteries. They had to enforce a national limit for energy cryptocurrency mining because it's grown too fast and they're out of power. And it's not the only place in the world that's out of power. China has big power outages now, and some factories have to be closed down, and they're mining coal as quickly as they can. So it's shocking. So now we know the true reason why they had to ban the miners. It's not only to protect the digital currency, but also they didn't have enough electricity on their grid to support the mining. And big boon for USA. And a little bit of Tesla news. As you guys know, I'm a big Tesla bull as well. So it looks like Wall Street has at last whipped out their calculator, and Tesla hit a new all-time high. And obviously, we had a very brief post-earnings duck. 80% of the time, Tesla falls after earnings. But now the analysts see the value of Tesla. They used to think, oh, it's trading at a P of 1,000 and stuff. But now the shorts are running. And by my math and my price prediction models, based on this current stock price, Tesla, I think, is trading at about 85, 86 based on the 2022 earnings. So we'll see. The EV market is red hot. These guys are crushing it, and they've got so much in the pipe, and 2022 is going to be incredible. Now you have a phenomenon where all the funds, etc., want to kind of window dress their funds and start putting positions in Tesla, and that's probably why it's so strong after these earnings. And finally, in some saber rattling news, President Joe Biden said the U.S. would come to Taiwan's defense if China were to attack. So hopefully that will never come to happen. But it was bizarre to see the shift of Washington's delicate long-time policy of strategic ambiguity to say that point blank. So I hope it doesn't raise tensions over in mainland China. And with that, I'm going to take a couple of questions. Hope you like the content. Big thank you everybody for being here. Hope everybody's doing okay in the market. It's been a crazy last 5 or 6 weeks. October has truly been an October. So everybody, when you see a little market dip like right now, like Bitcoin losing 5,000 in a couple of days, if you know Bitcoin, that's normal. But remember, a couple of weeks ago we were at 41,000. So it's just par for the course, everybody. So let me see. Questions. Big thank you to the moderators out there as well, everybody who's there, and K8 for managing all the super chat questions. Appreciate it. And I hope you enjoyed yesterday's video with Michael Saylor. He is a scholar and a gentleman, and I hope he's very happy with Saylor, the humpback whale. So Craig M, during the Saylor, it's a Saylor question. During the Saylor interview, he never had a chance to answer the question about his thoughts about potential Gensler regulations. Maybe next interview? Well, he kind of did. He did talk about it. And the fact, my concern was the fact that Gensler would consider MicroStrategy a true ETF because of their Bitcoin holdings. And he said no. Under their charter, they can go and buy $10 billion of real estate in Nevada or whatever they want. So the company has the right to buy whatever they want. So there's no reg risk from that perspective at all. So Craig, well spotted, and he did answer it. Work hard, HODL BTC. What is the calculation to figure out the appropriate price to buy back into crypto after the bull market when we sell some for the next few months to harvest profit? That's really a function of your tax basis. And I am actually, believe it or not, working on a model, Work Hard, on helping you to be able to plug in your own number. Say, for example, say you live in California. That's where I know the tax system the best. And you got your federal tax. You're at the top rate because you earn over $250,000 a year. And your state tax is 12%. And you run out of all your deductions. So your marginal tax rate could be 52% on your short-term capital gains. Then you can weave that into the model and help you calculate, should you sell? And if you sell, what price do you need it to fall to get back in? So I will share that with you guys to really help tax planning, especially for harvesting. But be careful, don't remember, get rid of the trash first and then layer out if you need to. But the whole market is changing so rapidly right now, and this thing is so scarce. And as I say, there's a small chance, 20%, 25%, that this thing could just skyrocket. But we'll see. We'll monitor it very carefully and tune in here every day to find out what I see. And I'm looking at all the charts, all the indicators to know when we're getting close, if we are. David Guest, what's the best place to stake Solana? So Exodus Wallet, I find very simple, easy to use. But a lot of people like Soulflare as well. They seem to be the two best spots right now. David, hope that helps. Darnell Parker, good to see you again. Since you have a small bag of Zilliqa, yeah, nice to say small bag, it's $500 worth. And I bought it. I had a system. Every time I did a should I buy video, I bought $500 worth. Just so I got $500 of VeChain and HBAR and Zilliqa, and I have no idea where they are. But I think it's not a good project. I'm just waiting for a little bit of strength, and I'm going to sell immediately. The price predictions are in my video, and they're not really worth it. I think there's way safer places to place money. Just look at the quadrupling that people expect for Ethereum and other things. I don't expect Zilliqa to quadruple. Astaroth Infinity. New projects and SCPs need to incentivize people to provide liquidity with high APYs, inflating the token and then causing LPs to exit and sell off once the incentives run out. Do you see this as a major issue in DeFi? It is. In fact, that's that whole game. That's why I look very carefully at inflation and the tokenomics, and that's what the Coinpendium does, the crypto compendium model we built. It helps identify those that are most at risk to that. So you have people, you have some cryptos, people are so excited. It's like, oh, this one pays 20% APY. This one pays 50,000% APY. But what they're doing is they're buying into something, and then the company is just reaching back and just grabbing some tokens and throwing them at the users. It's a complete shell game. So be very careful with that. In terms of the LPs and how they play, you got to go. That's why it's very important to go after the projects that are extremely well supported. Ones that will remain nameless. They've got partners behind them that are in it for the long term. They're thinking 5 to 7 years. They're not thinking turn and burn and get out after 6 to 12 months. So that's very, very important to look at, and you're dead right. Chad G, I can't believe you're still up. You often stress capital preservation. Can you expound on that as it relates to crypto investing and for the people looking for a quick 10x? It is the most important thing in investing. If that's why I always break. Asset allocation is very important, and sizing is very important. Remember, first of all, you got to preserve your crown jewels. Second of all, you find ways to grow them in select ways. You never put all your money on the track on one bet or on Black 36 or whatever that roulette game is called. Be very, very careful. So whenever you invest in anything, always think, what are the chances it can lose? Or how much can I lose? Can I lose it all? Can I lose half? In what time frame? And if you do lose, can you get out? Do you have the courage to pull the trigger? A lot of people have the lizard brain that prevents them from selling, because if they sell, they admit they made a mistake. And that's a huge issue. So again, that's why I am extremely conservative. I do a ton of homework, because it pains me to lose. If I put money on something and something loses, I get really upset. That's why I wait for things to be extremely good, pass my due diligence, get into the bottom, write it up, and then hedge my position as much as I can. So I hope that helps. Crypto Captain Ron, do you think that the big Bitcoin miners could ever become the next JP Morgan or Rothschild type financial powerhouses that we see now? No, because they will always have a variable cost of running their business. Rigs depreciate, burn out, electricity, housing. So it is an expensive business. It's also a cutthroat business, because you'll have places, all the miners will migrate to places where the cheapest electricity is, or even free electricity. Think El Salvador and their volcano mining. Think of places that are beside huge hydroelectric power plants. So from that perspective, I don't think so. But, the next JP Morgans and Rothschilds could be companies like MicroStrategy. They own, by my math, 1% of all Bitcoin. So that includes the holdings of the executive team and the corporation itself. So from that perspective, they're the ones to look for. And they have a lot more. When you start seeing a miner with more than 50,000 Bitcoin, then maybe yes. But they're going to have to sell some at some stage. Hyro, your thoughts on trading pairs like Bitcoin Sol, your strategy. Yeah, I tried to highlight it there. So I want you guys to learn more, because I got a lot of requests to show more about how I look at trading pairs. Everything moves in cycles and swings, and you've got to be able to time those. So I will be doing a video on trading pair trading and how to do it and all the different options you have. especially when you have certain things that you believe are overbought versus things that haven't run yet. So imagine a good example would be maybe an Ethereum Chainlink trading pair. Chainlink has not run, and compared to history, it's way below. Then you can look at other things like smart contract platforms that are beyond their market cap, what they're actually theoretically worth, and then you can kind of trade them against something that you think is undervalued. Like my old thesis was when Solana was less than a tenth, it was like 5% of the market cap of Cardano. I was like, that should be the same price as Cardano. What's going on? So that's why I just go all in, because it'll eventually come right. So we'll do more on that as well. Great question. Scott, if I have half my savings in the stock market, Tesla, Google, Amazon, and want to sell it all to buy crypto and play it safe, only ETH, Bitcoin, is this move good or stupid? You're a little late to play this game, Scott. So we're technically 2/3 the way through this bull cycle. The time to do that was summer, when Bitcoin was 30,000, or even last year when you could buy Bitcoin 8, 9, 10,000. I would not recommend that, because there are tax ramifications too. And you're holding good names. Tesla and Google would be safe. Amazon is amazing. So if you were in bad stocks, I'd say get out, but you're holding good ones. So the tax ramification of selling and moving over and getting into Bitcoin or Ethereum late could be hard. What I would do, though, is maybe take a little bit of it, like 10%, 15%, stick it on ETH and Bitcoin and Solana, and let it ride. Give it a shot. But remember your taxes always. And not financial advice. But if I didn't have any ETH or Bitcoin, and I know that Ethereum is going to triple, Bitcoin is going to double from here, well, maybe not double anymore, but close to it, that's what I would do. Swift Tropics, possible to do quarterly updates on the retire on crypto portfolio. Uni, Aave, Cardano, Algo, the slower horses with your price prediction targets. Great idea. I've had hundreds of people asking for that. I will do an update. A very detailed update. I'm also going to do one on the retire and equities portfolio too, and some of the stuff I've done. So that's a great suggestion. I'll do that next week. And thanks for your donation as well. Caligula, please remind the IA family to take all emotion out of investing. It doesn't come natural, but important for long-term success. And congrats on the best sailor conversation I've ever seen. Thank you so much, Mr. Caligula. Yeah, in terms of that, just to layer in on top of that, question, everybody, successful investors have no emotion. None. Look at me, I'm a machine. I layer into stuff after doing my homework. Win, lose, or draw, I don't care. I've got rules to be able to get myself out if something turns against me. And, if I win, so what? If I make a lot of money, I don't get greedy. I always have my exit before I enter. Very important rule, probably the most important rule ever. And that'll help you take the emotion out of investing. So if you get into something, I'll give you a recent example. My Avalanche got in at $10. My goal, my price targets at $51 was the top. Before they raised all the money, I didn't know that was coming. I did a 5X, took the money out, moved into Solana, got onto another horse. So it didn't matter. I didn't lose. And I still believe Solana will far outperform Avalanche. And that'll be a good one to analyze actually in that retire on crypto portfolio too. So big thank you as well, Caligula, for sharing that. Zabjuda, love and respect, but if a model you create gives low scores to Luna and Phantom, then the model is invalid. No, not at all. You will see over time. So Phantom is a special case because it's such a small cap and it's growing so fast. When the model was put together for that, there's two ways I look at cryptos. One is the compendium way, and two is appraising them as a smart contract platform. And sometimes the results are extremely different. They could get a really poor score on the compendium and a really good score on the SCP. Now, the SCP is updating live with data, DEXs, DApps, users, all that type of stuff, and it changes. But Phantom, I saw it move. I saw the adoption, but it was too late to chase. And I'm fine. I'm fine sitting on my Solana, and I don't need to risk capital. So models are not flawed. And if you think so, you don't have to watch this channel. So, and I've proven time and time again, I can value stuff very well. So look what I did with the miners and how I identified CleanSpark. $10. It's like 17, 18 in a couple of weeks. So my models do work, and I'm not going to change them. Harley Jane, Dragonfire, Joseph Punti, Michael Cuyo, Chickenwise, Luna, Snowfall, David, Cherry Lawler, GT350, Garrick Brooks, $2 Bob, German Girl Virginia, good to see you again, Tunas on Toast, Nevel Tumanov, Moto JB, Crypto Anomalous, Titty Bluesk, Pangolin, Good night all. There's so many pangolins out there. I must have a whole bunch of fans. Let's see. And Bitcoin is down $100. So we'll see. But the weekend is when the action happens. So be safe, everybody. Enjoy the weekend. I'll see you tomorrow for a quickie in the morning. Bye.